Mark Gibson Shumanawis channel. Accountant with designations CPA, MBA, CMA, ACPA, ASA, Australia. Enjoy learning!
Okay, so good morning, class, and welcome to your valuation concepts and methodologies class. Today we'll discuss about the income-based valuation. Element, no, sabi natin capital investment factors, we have net investment and then returns, and finally cost of capital. Yung cost of capital naman, basically ito 'di ba sabi natin, we can finance capital investment by way of long-term liabilities o utang, no? Simply, mangungutang ka or by way of issuing shares, no? So, of course, we have to understand each concept, no? So, if it's creditors, ang sabi natin, the capital, the source of capital would be the long-term debt. Paano ngayon compute yung cost of capital? Ayun. So, if it's creditors, it's after tax rate of interest multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. If it's a preferred stock, so sabi, the formula is preferred dividends per share divided by current market price or net issuance price. Pag sinabi nating net issuance price, by the word net, ibig sabihin may dineduct. Ano ngayon yung mga dinededuct sa issuance price? So, ito yung mga issuance cost or simply flotation cost. No? So, tandaan yan, class. Ha? And then, for common stock, we have CAPM or DDM. Ako, ano ba itong CAPM or DDM? So, CAPM, this is Capital Asset Pricing Model. So, basically, there's a formula. It's R is equals to RF plus beta multiplied by RM minus RF. Class, ang importante naman for CAPM is for you to know the formula because the rest of the elements will be provided in the problem, no? So we don't really have to compute for it, no? So just have to be familiar with the term. So sabi natin R, what is R? This is the rate of return. RF is risk-free rate determined by the government securities. And beta coefficient of an individual stock, which is the correlation between the volatility of the stock market and the volatility of the price. So like I said, class, this will be provided in the problem. So there is no way we'll be computing for this. No, so these are say a product of knowledge and understanding of different profession. No, and RM, this is the market return. Now, kung mapapansin mo, we have RM minus RF or simply this is the market risk premium, no? So kasi there might be a chance where instead of providing you RM and RF, simply it provides you with the market risk premium. So actually, the market risk premium is simply your RM minus RF. Huh? So again, we don't really need to calculate for RF, for beta, for RM and RF. All we need to do in CAPM is to know the formula. All right. Next, we have the dividend growth model. So ito yung DDM or DGM. Okay. So dividend discount model. No? So the formula to get the cost of retained earnings, it's D sub 1 over P sub 0 plus G. Ito class if you watch my recording and the time value of money, you should be familiar with D sub 1 and P sub 0. No? So again, I encourage you to watch that recording. It's a lengthy recording, it's a lengthy discussion, but it will give you the flavor of time value of money. No? Well, in fact, time value of money is part of the whole discussion on capital budgeting. No? So sabi natin, P sub 0, this is the current price or sabi ko doon, price now. D sub 1 is next dividend, meaning it's the dividend next year. Paano kung D sub 0? So, pag sinabing D sub 0, it's the dividend this year or dividend now. Plus G, ano ngayon yung G dito? It's the growth rate in dividends per share, right? Now, what if it's cost of new common stock? So again, it's D sub 1 over P sub 0. Same pa rin naman yan. Multiply by 1 minus the flotation cost. Tandaan, ang flotation cost, this is the cost of issuing new securities. No? So, bakit walang flotation cost sa retained earnings? O class, retained earnings is simply your accumulated profit. No? So, there's no issuance test there. No? So, that's why there's no flotation cost involved. Para maintindihan yan, let's have problem number 3. Cost of debt muna tayo. No? So remember, in cost of capital, we've discussed 3. So we have cost of debt, cost of preferred stock, cost of retained earnings, and cost of common stock. In cost of common stock, pinag-usapan natin yung CAPM and DGM. No? So ngayon, isa-isay natin, i-apply natin sa problem. No? So let's have problem number 3. Problem number 3. So Piolo Incorporated's currently outstanding 8% coupon bonds have a yield to maturity of 10%. Piolo believes it could issue new bonds at a par that would provide a similar yield to maturity. If the income tax rate is 30%, what is Piolo's income after tax cost of debt? What is Piolo Incorporated's after tax cost of debt? It's not income, it's incorporated. Okay, so ano ba yung formula muna natin? Formula to get the long-term debt, no? So cost of debt tayo. So sabi, it's after tax rate of interest of 10%, 1 minus 70%. No? 70%, this is 100% less 30%. 30% is the tax rate. No? So, ay, kinukuha natin dito is after tax. So pag sinabi after tax, you have to deduct the tax. No? Kaya nga after tax. No? So 100% less 30%, so it's 70%. No? So now, pwede na tayo mag-compute. So it's 10% multiplied by 70% or 7%. No? So this is the answer to the problem. No? So the answer is 7%. This is the after-tax cost of debt. No? Simple lang siya kung paano na-compute. Ayun lang yung formula na sinundan lang natin. Okay, so next we have problem number 4, still in cost of debt, no, para at least mas strengthen pa yung understanding. Piolo Enterprises has a series of 9% coupon bonds outstanding with a 1,000 pesos par value. The bonds mature in 10 years and currently sell for 1,112. If new bonds are issued, the issuance cost is expected to be 12 pesos per bond. Piolo's marginal tax rate is 30%. What is the marginal after-tax cost of debt for Piolo? Sige. Yeah, problem number 4. Tandaan, in problem number 4, meron na mga pinag-uusapan na mga issuance cost. No? So pag-usapan muna natin isa-isa yan. So sabi, we have the 1,000 being the par value. So okay tayo dyan. And then maturity of 10 years, currently sell for 1,112. No? So ito class, itong gross price natin 1,112 compared with the par value. So meron tayong tinatawag na premium. No? So imagine ganito. Ang par value ng bond, 1,000 lang. When you sell it above higher than the par value. So meron ka ngayon tinatawag na premium. That premium, kung natatandaan niyo sa financial accounting and reporting niyo, that premium will be amortized throughout the life of the bond. No? So in this case, 10 years. No? So we have the gross price of 1,112 less the issuance cost. No? So magkano ba issuance cost? 12 pesos per bond. No? So basically, every time you issue a bond, merong issuance cost. It could be charges, no? Bank charges. So sabi, 12 pesos per bond. So now, the net price is 1,100. Of course, the net price compared with the par value, you can now get the premium. So again, itong premium na ito yung ina-amortize natin throughout the life of the bond. Okay. Now, let's also compute the interest. Kasi later on, I'll be uh, providing you with another set of formula, no, to compute for the yield to maturity. No? Kaya iniisa-isa lang muna natin yung mga given. No? So we have the par value of 1,000. Again, this is given. Multiply by the interest rate. No? Wag magpapalito. Ha? This is still the interest rate. No? So marginal tax rate is 30%. So this is tax, I mean, no? So interest rate is 9%. No? So 1,000 multiplied by 9%, so that's 90. Ngayon, with now that we have calculated these elements, we can now proceed with the yield to maturity. O class, yield to maturity, this is also called as book yield or redemption yield. Again, wag magpapalito. When you say book yield, when you see book yield and redemption yield, this is similar with yield to maturity. All right? Okay. So, paano ngayon yung formula? Sabi dyan, interest plus discount amortization or less premium amortization. Kasi class, itong premium and discount na to, this will impact the total interest expense that we record in our books. No? So sabi dyan, if it's a premium, it should be deducted to the interest. No? Of course, if it's a discount, the amortization should be added. And then, your denominator is proceeds multiplied by 60% plus maturity value multiplied by 40%. Isa-isayin natin yan. So, we have the interest of 90. Tapos ngayon itong premium, sabi ko kanina, 'di ba? Premium should be amortized, no? So therefore 100 divided by 10. So lagay ko lang dito, premium amortization para at least may guide ka. So you have your premium and then the terms. Premium of 100 and then 10 years. So premium divided by 10 years, so that's 10. So meron kang 90 na interest less the premium amortization. So lagay ko dito, premium amortization of 10. No? So meron ka na ngayong 80, kunin natin yung denominator natin. So sabi lang naman dyan, it's proceeds. Proceeds, of course, is the net price multiplied by 60% plus the maturity value. Eh, syempre, maturity value natin is the par. So maturity value, so that's 1,000 multiplied by 40%. Or it's 7.547%. No? So this is the answer to problem number 4. Okay? Ayan, ha? So problem number 5. So ulitin natin ha. Cost of capital. Tapos na tayo kay cost of debt. Ngayon punta natin si cost of preferred stock. So Piolo Corporation plans to issue some 50 pesos per preferred stock with a 6% dividend. A similar stock is selling on the market for 60 pesos. Piolo must pay flotation costs of 2% of the issue price. The income tax rate is 30%. What is the cost of preferred stock? So we have number 5. Let's have problem number 5. Kung napapansin nyo class, palaging ginagawa natin is, ayun yung problem and yung concept, no? Para at least ngayon pa lang maging familiar ka na, no? So, preferred stock. So, ang sabi dito, formula is preferred dividends per share divided by the current market price or net issuance price, no? Of course, compute natin dito yung mga relevant information. So we have dividends, so that's 50 par multiply by 6% dividend, so meron ka lang dividend per share. Market price is given, that's 60. And of course, the flotation cost also given, 2%. No? So ngayon, meron na tayong preferred dividends per share of 3. Current market price, sabi natin, di ba? Current market price or net issuance price. So therefore, 60 multiplied by 98% para makuha natin yung net issuance price. No? So meron kang market price of 60 less may flotation cost. Tandaan, flotation cost is similar with issuance cost. No? So ito yung mga charges niya. So therefore, the answer to problem number 5 is 5.10%. So hopefully, ganito kadadali yung mga problem. No? At least, we can, for sure, no, we can compute for this just by following this formula. Okay, so that's problem number 5. Now let's have problem number 6. This time, let's apply the concept of DGM. Okay. Sabi natin, DGM or the discount growth model, paano daw yan? Paano ang pag-compute ng DGM? So basahin natin yung problem. Piolo Company currently pays a common stock dividend of 20 pesos per share. The common stock price is 100 pesos. Analysts have forecast the earnings and dividends to grow at an average annual rate of 5% for the foreseeable future. The issuance price per share is 4 pesos. The requirements are number 1, what is the cost of retained earnings? And number 2, what is the cost of new equity? Again, in this type of problem, wala tayong magiging problema. We just need to follow the formula. So, unahin muna natin ano ba yung mga given. Okay. So, we have the dividend. Sabi dyan, dividend of 20. This is dividend sub-zero. So, meaning this is dividend now. The common stock price of 100. So, given pa rin. Issuance cost of 4 pesos. Again, given. Now, since we have been provided with the growth rate, sabi dyan 5%, we can now compute for the next year's dividend. No? So next year's dividend or D sub-zero is 21. Paano kinompute yun? So 20 multiplied by 1.05. So lagyan lang natin ng growth of 5%. No? So that's 21. That's your D sub-zero. And finally, your growth rate. That's given naman. Bakit in-apply yung growth rate to both earnings and dividends? Ayun class, given naman. Analysts have forecasted that the earnings and dividends will grow at an average annual rate of 5%. No? So that's why we use it also to forecast the next dividend or your D sub-zero. Okay, so with that, we can now compute for the cost of retained earnings. So it D sub-zero divided by P sub-zero plus the growth rate. No? So we have 21. Paano kinuha yung 21? Ayun, D sub 1 of 21 divided by P sub-zero or the current price of 100 plus the growth rate of 5%. So 21 divided by 100, so that's 0.21 plus 5%, no? So that's 26%, no? That this is the answer to requirement number 1. Ngayon, the next requirement is to compute for the cost of equity. So in this case, sundan natin ngayon yung formula. So we have D sub 1 divided by P sub 0, 1 minus the flotation cost plus G. G again is the growth rate. No? So ito naman, parang puzzle na lang to. No? So we have the next dividend, D sub 1, so to 21. Ito ngayon, sabi 'di ba, price now, P sub 0, 100, less the flotation cost. Flotation cost in this case is 4. Okay? Ito kasing formula dito, class, 1 minus flotation cost. We only use this if it's in percentage terms. No? In this case, binigay sa atin yung absolute peso amount. No? So we don't need to use this. No? Instead, 100 less 4. No? So that's 96. 21 divided by 96, so that's 0.21875 plus 5%. So the cost of new equity is 26.88%. Okay, so that's problem number 6. So that's DGM, or of course, the next concept is CAPM. So sabi ko kanina, in CAPM, hindi naman natin talaga kailangan alamin kung paano na nag-arrive yung sa beta. All we have to do is to make sure na alam natin yung formula. So in that case, so basahin natin yung problem. Piolo has a beta of 0.8. The current risk-free rate is 5% and the market rate is 8%. What is the cost of equity capital? So again, kunin lang natin isa. We have RF. RF is 5%. RM is 8% and beta of 0.8. Now that we have identified the pertinent information available, we can now substitute it. No? We can apply it to the formula. So RF, 5% plus beta of 0.8 multiplied by the difference between the RM minus the RF, or simply the market risk premium. No? So we get 7.4%. No? So ganun kasimple ang CAPM provided alam mo syempre yung formula. So ito talaga yung key to determine, to solve problems in CAPM. No? So that's cost of capital. Sige, itodo na natin, no? Since natapos na natin i-cover lahat ng cost of capital. So remember, long-term debt, we have the preferred stock and common stock. Ngayon, pag-usapan natin, what if masyado talagang malaking project, no? So, imagine mo yung project na na-kill kanina, 'di ba? So, yung sa Dubai, so man-made islands, no? So, isipin mo na lang, si Dubai hindi siya self-sufficient, no? So, Dubai would need long-term debt, and then yun nga, different issuance of equity para lang mabuo yung funding. So in that case, paano ngayon natin i-account lahat yon kung isang project will require financing from different sources, no? So paano natin yun gagawin? Let's have problem number 8, or the weighted average cost of capital. So the requirement is, of course, what is the firm's weighted average cost of capital? So Piolo's new financing will be in proportion to the market value of its current financing shown below. So we have the long-term debt of 8 million carrying amount, preferred stock of 2 million, common stock of 5 million. The firm's bonds are currently selling at 120% of par, generating a current market yield of 8%. The corporation has 30% tax rate. The preferred stock is currently selling at 18 pesos per share and pays a 5% dividend. The common stock has current market value of 21.5. The company paid dividend of 4 pesos per share. Dividend growth rate is expected to be 6% per year and flotation costs are negligible. So when we say negligible, it's immaterial. No? So meaning, we don't need to consider it. Ngayon class, ito tip lang. Unang basa, parang ang daming data na nakalagay. Pero in fact class, kung iisa-isahin mo to, mas madali. No? So paano natin atakin yung mga gantong problem na unang tingin parang ang sakit sa mata, ang daming numbers na nakikita. Pag-usapan natin yung problem number 8. Okay. So problem number 8, since we're sabi nga natin, instead of just one source, masyadong malaking project, kailangan natin ng multiple sources of funds, no? So meron tayo, nangutang na tayo, nag-issue pa tayo ng shares, no? At hindi lang isang share, nag-issue tayo ng preferred stock and common stock. So ngayon, computein natin yung weighted average cost of capital. Of course, una, I suggest kunin mo na agad to, no? Ito na yung magiging format natin. So we have the sources of capital, so long-term debt. Oops, lagay ka na lang para hindi ka malito. Long-term debt. We have the preferred stock and the common stock. Carrying amount given, that's 8 million, 2 million, and 5 million. Market value. Pag-usapan natin itong market value ng long-term debt. So sabi dyan, the firm's bonds are currently selling at 120% of par. So therefore, kunin mo yung carrying amount, multiply by 120% to get the market value. Okay? Next, preferred stock. O so, paano naman yung preferred stock? Sabi ang preferred stock is currently selling at 18 pesos. Ilan ba yung stocks na meron? 100,000 multiply by the selling price of 18, so that's 1.8 million. O, di ba? Parang sumisimple na ngayon, no? Kung meron ka ng procedure. Common stock, paano yung pag-compute? So, meron kang 400,000 shares multiplied by the current market price of 21.5. So, that's 8.6 million. Now, get the sum. So, that's 20 million. Kasi from here, we can now get the proportion of funds based on market value. Nga, kinukuha natin yung weighted average cost of capital. Of course, we need to have a basis. No? So in this case, ang basis natin is market value. So paano compute yung 48%? So that's 9,600 or 9,600,000 pesos divided by 20 million. No? So 48%. Then 9% for preferred stock. So 1.8 million divided by 20 million. And then 8.6 million divided by 20 million. So that's 43%. So 100% naman yan. Now, paano nga itong cost of capital? Of course, sa cost of capital, baka sabihin mo, paulit-ulit na tayo kasi ilang beses natin pinag-usapan yan. No? So, definitely, we have to compute for each. No? So, paano mag-compute ng long-term ng cost of debt, cost of preferred stock, and cost of common stock. So, isa-isain ulit natin para at least mas maintindihan mo pa or mas ma-appreciate mo pa lalo yung concept. No? Unahin natin yung cost of debt. Sabi natin dyan, di ba? It's the interest multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. So, magkano ba yung interest natin dyan? Sabi, the current yield of 8% and the tax rate is 30. So, therefore, that's 8% multiplied by 1 minus 30% or 5.6%. So, yan na yung cost of debt natin. Puntahan natin ngayon yung cost of preferred stock. Alam naman natin yung formula. That's preferred dividends per share divided by current market price or net issuance price. Since meron ka na ngayong preferred dividend, 1 peso daw. Paano na-compute yung 1 peso? Simply, 20 pesos na par multiply by 5%. Paano ba nakuha yung par? Ito naman class, no? Basic accounting mo lang to. So that's 2 million divided by 100,000 shares, no? So that's the par value. Again, the preferred stock dividend of 1, paano na-compute yan? Par value of 20 multiplied by 5% dividend. So that's 1 peso. Okay? So okay na tayo dyan. Meron ka ngayong current market price. Current market price of 18. Pero yung 18 na yan, given naman. Ayun. So 1 divided by 18, so that's 5.56. No? Pag-usapan ngayon natin yung common stock. So again, sabi dyan, D sub 0 divided by the flotation cost, or P sub 0 less 1 minus the flotation cost plus the growth rate. No? So isa-isa ulit natin yung dividend ng common stock. So sabi natin D sub 1, pag D sub 1 is the dividend next period. Meron ka ngayong par value, meron kang dividend ngayon na 4. Sabi 'di ba dividend growth is 6%. So 4 multiplied by 1.06. So that's that's 4. Sige lang, dito 4. Should be yan. 4.24. And then 22 or the current market price, since wala namang flotation cost, kasi sabi natin dito flotation cost are negligible. Okay? Plus the growth rate. The growth rate is given, no? 6%. So therefore, 4.24 divided by 21.5 plus 6% is equivalent to 25.72%. Ngayon, alam na natin yung mga cost of capital. Ito, tapos na tayo dyan eh. So, plot na natin doon sa table natin. So, 5.6, 5.56, and 25.72. Meron na tayo ngayon cost of capital. Kunin na natin yan yung weighted cost. No? So, simply, yung proportions of funds based on market value multiplied by the cost of capital. So that's 2.69% for debt, 9% multiplied by 5.56, that's 0.5% for preferred stock, 43% multiplied by 25.72%, that's 11.06%. So get the sum, that's 14.25%. No? And actually, that's the answer to requirement for problem number 8. The weighted average cost of capital. Those methods that follow or require the time value of money. So we have first the net present value. So sabi natin, present value of cash inflows minus the present value of cash outflows. So that's how to compute the net present value. Ngayon class, no, ang palagi kong sinasabi, in order for you to be familiar with the concept of time value of money, you have to refer back to my discussion of that topic, no, to aid you to understand the whole concept of capital budgeting. Pero kasi pag-uusapan pa rin naman natin yan ngayon. So discussion problem number 12, compute the net present value or NPV. Piolo Service Station is planning to invest in automatic car wash equipment valued at 240,000. The owner estimates that the equipment will increase annual net cash inflows by 46,000 pesos. The equipment is expected to have a 10-year economic life with an estimated residual value of 50,000 pesos. The company requires a 14% minimum rate of return. So that's the desired rate of return. So let's have problem number 12. So, problem number 12, sabi natin 'di ba class, ang formula lang naman natin to compute the net present value. Sige, kunin ko dito ha para at least. Yan. Simply your present value of cash inflow less the present value of cash outflow. Ngayon, uh, kailan gagamitin ang present value of an annuity? Kailan gagamitin ang present value of one? Pag ang problem is uniform cash flows, we'll use present value of an annuity. Of course, in salvage value naman, kasi nga one time lang naman yan at the end of the life, palagi yan present value of one. Okay? So, in this topic, we're not going to discuss more of how to compute the present value factor. Again, that will be covered in the time value of money discussion. No? So you have to refer back to that discussion. Now, ang pag-uusapan natin dito is yung basically when to use those factors. Kasi remember, we have two sets of tables. Kasi it could be that the present value factors are provided in the problem. So that's one. Or number two, kung hindi provided, kailangan natin computein. Yung to answer the question on how to compute the present value factor, sabi ko nga, you have to refer back to the time value of money discussion. Now, if it's just referring back to the table, meron tayo niyan. No? So, eto, gaya nito, pag-usapan natin to. Ang minimum rate of return natin is 14%, no? Minimum rate of, oops, ba't ba ganun? So, kunin natin yung present value factor at 14%. So, that's 5.216 and 0.27. Pero saan ba nakuha yan? Saglit lang. Sabi natin 14% and then 10 years. Yan yung life, no? So, that's 5.216. Ayun, no? Yung isa pa, yung sa salvage value naman, sabi natin 14%, 10 years, that's 0.217. No? So that's how to use this table. No? So going back to problem number 12. So alam na natin kung paano nakuha yan. Oops. Of course, this one. So kunin natin ngayon yung present value of cash inflows. No? So 46,000 multiplied by 5.216, so that's 239,936. 50,000 multiplied by 0.27, so that's 13,500. Total present value of cash inflow is 253,436 less the investment. Of course, investment is 240,000. Net present value is 13,436. So this is how simple to calculate net present value, provided that the cash inflows is uniform, no? Ngayon, paano ngayon yung decision nito, no? So sabi natin, if it's positive, it's a go, no? So like in this case, kung ito lang yung given, no? Ito lang yung information provided to us, so this is a good investment. Kasi nga, we have a net present value of 13,436, which is positive, no? Paano naman kung what if we have uneven cash flows? No? So what is the net present value? Company is evaluating a capital investment proposal that will require an initial cash investment of 300,000. The project will have 3-year life. The net after-tax cash flows from the project are expected to be 200,000 the first year, 150 second year, and then 120 in the third year. Salvage value 5 is expected to receive at the end of the life of the project. The straight line method will be used to depreciate the project. Income tax rate is 30% and the company's cost of capital is 18%. So remember, this cost of capital is your desired rate of return. No? So let's compute for the net present value. So that's problem number 13. So dito class, remember kasi 'di ba kanina sabi natin if it's even cash flow, ang ginamit natin is present value factor of an annuity of 1, no? But in this case kasi nga yearly and nagbabago yung cash flow natin, it's uneven, so we have to use the present value of 1. So I suggest you get your table, no? So present value of 1 and then get the present value factor at 18%, no? At 3 years, ha? Tandaan, 3 years lang 'yan. So that's 0.847, 0.718 and 0.069. Pero tandaan class, oh, pansinin mo 'tong sa year 3. Kasi yung year 3 pwede natin i-present ng ganito, no? Cash inflow of 120,000. And then lagay natin dito yung salvage value. Salvage value of 5,000. This is 120,000. Pero same yung factor, no? Kasi nga towards the end of the life. So, ganun pa rin naman yung mako-compute natin. Okay? So, the net present value, lagay ko the salvage value. Tandaan class, ha? If it's an uneven cash flow, so meaning it varies yearly, we now need to use the present value of 1. Yun lang ang naging difference nito, no? Okay, so 200,000 multiplied by 0.847, so that's 169,400. 150,000 multiplied by 0.718, so that's 107,700. So sige, baka lang kasi may nalilito pa paano na-compute to, no? So tignan natin yung present value of 1. So present value of 1, ilang percent? 18%, no? So 0.847, ayun, plus 0.718 and 0.609. Ayun siya class, ha? So yan. So again, this is acceptable because we have a positive net present value of 80,630. Again, of course, later on kasi kailangan natin we have to compare two projects, no, para at least mas maintindihan natin how to decide, no, but later we'll cover that. All right. So that's problem 13. Now we have next profitability index. Profitability index is simply your total present value of cash inflows divided by the total present value of cash outflows, no? Pero parang ano to, no? Kung na-compute mo na yung net present value mo, parang there's no way you can't compute your profitability index kasi nga etong elements to compute your profitability index are all also the same elements to compute for your net present value, no? Sige. So pag-usapan natin yung ito, problem 14, pero ang maganda sa problem 14 class, we'll revisit the calculation of net present value and at the same time profitability index, no? So discussion problem 14, Piolo Corporation gathered the following data on two capital investment opportunities. So ito na, meron tayong project 1 and project 2. Ang cost of investment ng project 1 is 378, ang cost naman ni project 2 is 672,000. Present value of cash inflows discounted at 14% is 470 and 794 for projects 1 and 2 respectively. We have net present value of 92 and 122. Life of the project is 6 years for both. We have internal rate of return of 18 and 16%. The company's required rate of return is 14%. Limited funds are available for investment. Ito na. So the company cannot accept both projects. So parang ganito class, no? Since there's a limited resource, dahil nga konti, hindi naman unlimited yung pera mo. So we really have to apply the concept of different methods of capital budgeting. Kasi nga, we have to recommend to the management which project is more viable. So kaya nandoon tayo as accountant, no? So let's have problem number 14. Sige. Yung problem number 14, sabi kasi 'di ba number 1, using net present value method, which alternative is more attractive? Eh given na kasi class yung net present value. Sabi diyan, 92,000 kay project 1 and 122,000 kay project 2. So therefore, parang titignan mo lang yung dalawang amount, dun ka sa mas mataas. Siyempre net present value yung pinag-uusapan, mas mataas si project 2 kung ang pinag-uusapan lang is net present value method. So we can say that project 2 is more acceptable than project 1 based on the net present value. So yun na yung sagot natin sa um, requirement number 1. Now, paano ngayon pag yung sa requirement number 2? Requirement number 2 is profitability index. Sabi dyan, present value of cash inflows. So given naman, so 470 and 794. And then present value of cash outflows or the cost of investment. So that's 378,000 for project 1 and then 672,000 for project 2. Class given yan ha, huwag palilito. And of course, kunin lang natin yung derive na natin yung formula. So that's 1.24 for project 1. Paano na-compute yun? 470,000 divided by 378 and then 794 divided by 672 for project 2 or 1.18. O ngayon, kung ito lang yung kung dito tayo mag focus, we can say that project 1 is more acceptable than project 2, no? So because it has a profitability index of 1.24. Okay, so that's problem number 14. So problem number 15, actually this is the internal rate of return naman, no? So the requirements are net present value using the company's desired rate of return. And then number 2, let's calculate for the internal rate of return. Piolo Company is investigating the purchase of special purpose washing machine for cleaning drapes. The machine would cost 350,000. Freight and installation cost is 14,000. Piolo has estimated that the new machine would increase the company's after-tax net cash inflows by 110,000 per year. The machine would have a 5-year useful life and no salvage value. The company desires a minimum return of 12% on invested capital. So yan class ha, let's have problem 15. In problem, oops. In problem 15, ang sinasabi lang na una mo nating computein dito is net present value. So in net present value, sabi natin, meron tayong net cash inflow of 110,000 multiplied by the present value factor of 3.605. So that's 396,550. And less the investment of 364. Paano ba na-compute yung 364? So that's the purchase price of 350 plus the freight and installation costs of 14,000. So we have now the net present value of 32,550. So okay na tayo dyan. Ngayon class, sabi, when the IRR is being used as the discount rate, diba? Ulitin natin. Pag daw ang internal rate of return is used as discount rate, the present value of cash inflow is equal to the present value of the cash outflow. Kung ganun, ang sinasabi niya, ang present value of cash inflow is equal to the present value of cash inflow or your investment. So therefore, your net present value is 0 kasi nga equal no? So imagine kung ang total present value of cash inflow mo is 100 at ang present value of cash inflow mo or investment is 100. So therefore, your net present value is 0. No? So ganun na if it's the internal rate of return. Ngayon, paano natin makukompute yung internal rate of return? Simply by dividing 364,000 or the investment divide by the net cash inflow of 110,000 or simply 3.309. Ngayon class, kung 3.309 yung factor, nasaan ngayon yan? So we can say that the IRR is between 14 and 16% kasi yan yung available na data sa atin. No? 3.309, nandito yan in between 3.433 and 3.274. No? So it's between 14 and 16%. No? So that's how to compute for the internal rate of return. Kaya nga meron dito parang nagka-trial and error ka. No? So that's how to compute IRR. Okay. That's problem 15. Next, we have the discounted cash flow rate of return. The rate of return which equates the present value of cash inflows to present value of cash outflows. Parang ano rin pala class, no? Parang yung IRR din. No? So, number 1, determine the present value factor for the discounted cash flow rate of return. So, yun yung ginawa natin kanina. And then number 2, using table 2, find the line, the economic. Actually, this is what we did in discussion problem 15. No? Actually, nauna pala yung problem 15 bago yung concept. No? So we should have discussed this first before proceeding with problem 15. Well, anyway, we have computed it naman. No? So discussion problem 16. Determine the time-adjusted rate of return. So time-adjusted rate of return is simply your discounted cash flow rate. So different terminology para lang at least you'll be familiar with different naming convention. No? So when you say time-adjusted rate of return, it's simply your discounted cash flow rate of return. Piolo Company is evaluating a capital investment proposal that will require an initial cash investment of 330,000. The project will have 3-year life, and the net after-tax cash flows from the project are expected to be 200,000 in the first year, 150 in the second year, and 120 in the third year. No salvage value and straight line method will be used. Tax rate is 30% and the company's cost of capital is 18%. O class, kanina, uniform ulit yung cash flow natin. This time, uneven cash flow. No? So kung napapansin nyo class, the way we approach it is we try to give as many problems as we can. No? Parang at least alam mo kung paano yung approach no to different type of problems no kasi imagine meron isang problem even yung cash flows no meaning pare-parehas and this time uneven naman so it varies each year so para at least full yung concept talaga. No? So let's have problem 16. So in problem 16, tandaan ulit, dahil this is an even cash flow. So therefore, what we are going to use is the present value of 1. So the cash flows are given. So we have 20. Actually, hindi 20. That's 200,000. 150 and 120. Present value factor using 22%. Actually, it's not 22. It's should be 18%. That's 0.82, 0.672. Tignan natin, no? Confirm natin doon sa table natin. Si 18%, ayun, 0.18%. 0.672, parang mali. 18. Dapat ito, 0.847. 0.718. And finally, number 3, 0.0609. Kasi yung kanina nakuha ko is 22%. Ano yun? 0.51. Ay, 0.609. Yan. Right. So, get the present value of cash inflows. So, 200,000 multiplied by 0.847, meron ka ngayon 169,400. 107,700, then 73,080. That's the total present value of cash inflow, 350,180, less the cost of investment. The cost of investment is 330. So we have net present value of 20,180. Ngayon class, dahil ang kailangan natin, 'di ba? Sabi natin, pag kinukuha natin ng IRR, your present value should equal the cost of investment. So therefore, the net present value is 0, no? So ganun, 'di ba? So kaya kailangan mag-assume kaya ito yung trial and error na sinasabi ko, no? So subukan natin at 23%, no? So at 23%, the rates are, nako, hindi siya available dito. Sabihin na lang natin na for example, I have computed it earlier, no? So for example, there are available rates here, no? It's 0.813, 0.661, and 0.537, no? So ang factors, I mean the present value of cash inflow will total 326,190. So magre-result siya for a net present value of negative 3810. Eh di ba ang kailangan natin ma-achieve is 0%. I mean is 0, no? So pag sinubukan, yun nga, kaya magsusubok pa tayo ng ibang rate, no? So therefore, we can conclude that the time adjusted rate of return is between 23%. Ba't nga ba 23% to? Sagot niya. Eh 18% to. Hindi ba dapat sumubok tayo ng ano ba to? 0.813. Kung 18 yan, subukan natin tong subukan natin tong 20%. Sige na ha. Print screen. So 18%. Siyempre kung 18% meron kang net present value of 20,180. Eh sabi nga natin, in time adjusted rate of return, kailangan daw ang net present value is 0. So basically, kailangan lang natin itong maging 0, no? So subukan natin yung 20%. It's 0.833, 0.694, and 0.579. Okay, di pa. Isa pa. natin yung so 18, 20, subukan natin yung 22. 22, 0.820, 0.672, and 0.551. Yan. So, maliit na. Sumubok pa tayo ng ng iba pa. Magne-negative na yan. Pag halimbawa, kaya pala kanina ang ginamit natin is 0.23. Kaya ang sagot natin dito is the time adjusted rate of return is between 22 and 23%. So that's how to approach this type of problems. Okay, so that's problem 16. Let's now go to ito na, last concept. We have payback reciprocal. Payback reciprocal is a reasonable estimate of the discounted cash flow rate of return provided that the following conditions are met. So class sabi, ang payback reciprocal daw is an estimate of IRR. Kasi 'di ba kanina kinumpute natin yung IRR, sabi natin that the present value of cash outflow versus cash inflow versus the present value of cash outflow is equivalent to 0. So, yun daw yung IRR ha. Ito daw payback reciprocal naman is an indication or an estimate of IRR provided kailangan daw ma-meet muna tong conditions na 'to. So number 1, the economic life of the project is at least twice the payback period and the net cash inflows are constant or meaning uniform. So let's have payback reciprocal. Payback reciprocal naman is simply your net cash inflow over the investment or 1 minus 1 divided by the payback period. Okay, so let's have problem number 17. Okay. Sige. So, estimate the discounted cash flow rate of return without using present value factors. Ayan hindi tayo gagamit ng present value factor. Piolo Company is planning to buy an equipment costing 500,000 which has an estimated life of 20 years and is expected to produce after-tax net cash inflows of 120,000 per year. So, compute muna natin syempre payback period. Sabi natin, payback reciprocal is only applicable when we meet these two conditions. So number 1, economic life of the project is at least twice the payback period. Number 2, net cash inflows are constant. So ito, compute natin yung payback period. So that's 500,000 yung initial investment divide by the net cash inflow. And sabi dito, net cash inflow will be 120,000 per year. So, ibig sabihin, constant siya or uniform. So, that's 4.17 years. Tanong, is it twice the payback period? Or the economic life is at least twice the payback period? Ang economic life mo nga dito, 20 years So, it's more than twice. No? So, therefore, we can use payback reciprocal. So, 1 over payback period. So, 1 divide by 4.17 and the answer is 24%. So, tandaan lang class, in payback reciprocal, pwede mo lang gamitin to pag na-satisfy yung dalawang condition. So, it's really not, sabihin natin na basic yung formula. Yes, it's true. But then you have to make sure that we meet this condition prior to using this. Otherwise, it's not it will give you an incorrect answer. So take note of that. So that's payback reciprocal. And problem 18. So problem 18, ito naman tignan mo. Binigyan kita problem kanina with even cash flow or constant or uniform cash flow para at least ngayon malaman mo naman yung approach. Paano naman pag uneven? Okay? So we have problem number 18. So in problem number 18, parang ilang beses natin to ginawa, no? So you have your cost of investment 480,000. Sabi natin dahil nga to uneven, ang ginagamit natin present value factor is present value of 1. So cash inflows given 248, 240 and 200,000. So ito kunin mo ulit dun sa present value factor, multiply mo yung dalawa, so that's 225,000, 432, 198, 240, 150, 200. Now, we have the running total here. So simply your parang cumulative, no? So 423, so that's 225,042 plus 198,240 or 423,672. Ngayon, meron ka ngayon sa year 3, 573,872. But remember, the cost of investment is only 480,000. So paano natin ngayon kukumputin ulit yung proportion? So 480,000 minus 423,672 divide by 150,200. 150,200 is the present value of cash inflow for year 3. Or simply 56,328 divide by 150,200 or 0.38 years. So your payback period, discounted payback period is 2 years and 38 years. 2.38 years, no? So that's the answer to problem 18. So let's now go to capitalization of earnings method. The value of the asset or the investment is determined using the anticipated earnings of the company divided by the capitalization rate. So this capitalization rate is simply your required rate of return. Now, the capitalization of earnings method provides relationship of the estimated earnings of the company, your required rate of return, and the estimated equity value. To calculate for the estimated equity value, all you have to do is divide future earnings by the required rate of return. And to calculate for the equity value, so that's capitalized earnings, add the idle assets. Now, to further illustrate this method, let's have problem number 19. Let me read the requirements first. Number 1, using capitalization of earnings method, compute for the equity value of the two companies. Number 2, which company has higher equity value? And finally, on number 3, what will be the minimum selling price of the two companies, assuming its board of directors decided to sell 20% of its shares to the public? Piolo Incorporated is assessing the value of two companies, Ruru Corporation and Alden Incorporated, which projects the following net cash flows in the next 5 years with its desired required return. Net cash flows approximates to be its earnings also. The balance sheet of Ruru Corporation and Alden Incorporated has recorded property, plant, and equipment of 100 million and 200 million respectively. Operating assets are estimated at 80% and 70% respectively, and the rest are considered idle. Now, given are the net cash flows for Ruru Corporation and Alden Incorporated, as well as the required return of 8% and 6% respectively. No? So let's have problem number 19. Okay, class. No? So actually, we can approach this step by step. No? So let's do this first. No? So number 1 step is, of course, get the average net cash flows. No? So of course, given yung net cash flows years 1 to 5, so that's 8 million, 8,800,000, 9,680,000, 10,648,000, 11,712,800. So again, these are given class. So wala pa tayong na-analyze dyan. Oops. Okay, of course, the required rate of return also, these are provided in the problem. So first step is compute for the average net cash flow. So paano yan? So get the sum and divide by 5. That's it. No? So, or simply, if you're using your Excel, like what I'm presenting right now. So what I did is I just type in the formula average and then get these cells. No? So that's 9,768,160 and 11,721,792 for Alden. Okay, now the next step is to calculate for the equity value for the capitalized only. No? So it's, well, the formula is average net cash flows divided by the required return. So that's 9,768,160 divided by 8% for RURU, or 122,102,000. That's for RURU. Next, for Alden naman, that's 11,721,792 divided by required return of 6%, or 195,363,200. So okay na, no? So that's step number 2. Also, given yung property, plant, and equipment, then idle assets, no? So sabi kasi, the idle asset percentage to PPE is, sabi, ang operating assets natin is 80%. So, and the remaining daw is considered to be idle. So therefore, 20% for RURU. And then kay Alden naman, 70% yung operating assets, the rest daw are idle. So that's 30%. No? O again, paano nakuha yung 30%? O class, 70% represents operating assets, and sabi the rest are considered idle. So it's complementary. So therefore, the 30% will be idle assets. Okay. Now to compute for the idle assets, of course, that's 100 million multiplied by 20%, or 20 million pesos. And 200,000 multiplied by 30%, 200 million multiplied by 30%, or 60 million pesos. Okay, so I hope nakakasunod pa. Now let's go to requirement number 1 na. So using capitalization of earnings, compute for the equity value of the two companies. So paano na yung formula natin? So that's equity value capitalized plus the idle assets. No? So to get your equity value including the idle assets, that's 142,102,000 for RURU. And that's 255,363,200 for Alden. So again, that's 195,363,200 plus 60,000 idle assets. No? Now, question number 2, which company has higher equity value? So the answer is Alden, of course, with 255 million. Now, in requirement number 3, assuming we're going to sell it, no? We're going to sell 20% of its shares to the public. So how much that would be the selling price? So that's equity value multiplied by 20%. No? So that's 142,102,000 multiplied by 20%, or 28,420,400 for RURU. 255,363 255,363,200 multiplied by 20%, or 51,072,640. That's for Alden. And that actually ends our discussion on the income-based valuation. Again, if you have any questions, you can reach me at my email address flash on your screen, or you can course it through your class Beadle. So thank you very much for attending my class and stay safe.
This has been your instructor, Mark Gibson. Thank you for learning with us. See you in our next discussion. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!